Good morning, my awesome students. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be here today. I've got a training to go to, but you have Mrs. Schultz, who's going to be your sub. And I wanted to just go over some problems on your test review that you might have had questions about. So y'all are going to grade it in class, and then you'll have your test that you need to take. Remember, you can use your journal on your test. So anyway, let me go through those answers with you. So let me turn this around. Okay. Here we go. So yesterday, we looked at a few of these problems together. Let's see if I can zoom in for you. There we go. So one of the things that I really want to emphasize is on the absolute value. So like on number 4, it says the opposite, that's a negative sign, or it can mean opposite, of the absolute value of negative 10 plus 7 minus the absolute value of 1 minus 3. So first you're going to work what's inside, negative 10 plus 3. Those are opposite signs, so you take the difference, and that would be 10 minus 3 would be 7. 10 has the higher absolute value than 3, and 10 is negative, so your answer is going to be negative. Okay, bring everything else down. Then you have 1 minus 3. Remember, on subtraction, you add the opposite. You rewrite it as an addition problem, and you change the sign of the second number. So now we're going to look at what's the absolute value of negative 7. That's going to be 7. But you have that negative sign out front, so it's going to be a negative 7. Okay, then we've got a subtraction sign. And then we have 1 plus negative 3. Those are opposite signs with addition. And that would be negative 2. So that would be the absolute value of negative 2. And the absolute value of negative 2 is going to be 2. So we're going to end up with, I'm going to go over here because I'm out of room, negative 7 minus 2. But remember, it's a subtraction problem, so you have to add the opposite. So we're going to do negative 7 plus, that's a positive 2, it's going to become a negative 2. Now we're adding, same signs, right? And so 7 plus 2 is 9, and you keep the sign. All right? Look at, and I want to also point out, parentheses means multiplication. The fraction bar, let's see. Looks like you didn't have any on this one. But remember that that the fraction bar does mean division. So if we had, let's say we had 40 divided by negative 8, okay? Then that would mean 40 divided by negative 8. 40 divided by 8, we know is 5. We're dividing, the signs are opposite, right? So we know that our answer is negative, okay? One of the things you want to remember too is, use for multiplication and division, use your mic dude that I was showing you. Where you've got his eyes and mouth or nose, whichever one you want. And so if you have 2 negatives, then your answer is going to be positive. But remember, this is only on multiplication and division, okay? If you turn it this way, you have opposite signs. Your answer is going to be negative. If you turn it this way and you've got a positive times a negative or a positive divided by negative, your answer is going to be negative. But remember, this is only for multiplication and division only. Okay, the mic dude is. Let's see, is there anything else? You want to be sure that, like on these, that you read the instructions, okay? Because right here it said, write the expression to represent the situation, and it says, then determine the value and explain its meaning. So that's really a 3-part process, isn't it? So on number 11, it's saying that a turtle dives toward deeper water at a rate of 8 inches per second. It continues for a total of 16 seconds. So we know that it's going to dive. It's going to dive 8 inches. And we know that diving means going downward. Okay, so that would be a -8. And it does it for 16 seconds. So we know that's going to be times 16. Okay, that's the first part. The second part is to evaluate it, which means to get your answer. So 16 times 8 is 128. And those signs are opposite, so your answer's negative. Okay. And then it says to explain it, the meaning. And so the meaning would be that the turtle dives 128 feet down. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. I keep hitting this. Sorry about that. Okay. Let's look at 14. 14 looks like it might be one that you might have had questions about. So it says the highest point in California is Mount Whitney at 14,494 feet above sea level. Okay. That tells me it's going to be positive. The lowest point in California is in Death Valley at 282 feet below sea level. That tells me that one's going to be negative, okay? What is the difference in elevation between the 2 points? The difference in elevation, okay? So that means you're going to take, you've got the 14,000, right? 494. And then you have the negative 282, right? Okay. But because if you wanted to think of it as like a number line and you had 0 here, which is sea level, your 14,494 would be here. Your below sea level would be your 282, right? And if we wanted to know what's the difference in elevation, okay, between here and here, you would have to actually just add them, okay? And because if you're taking the difference in elevation, so you'd be subtracting a negative, which means you would add the opposite. And then that would give you your answer of 14,776 feet. Okay? Okay, so what I'm going to do is, let's see if there's something else on the back here that might have given you some trouble. I think these are pretty straightforward, okay? Just remember, if you have a situation like this, you're going to do the multiplication first and then take care of your addition. So this would be -2 times 9, which would give you -18. And -18 plus -6. Those are same signs, so you're going to add and keep the sign, and there you go. Also, this one, same thing. This one you're going to do 4 times -3 first, which is going to give you -12, right? And then you're going to have to rewrite your subtraction problem as an addition. And then you would get your answer. The signs are opposite, so you know you have to subtract. 12 minus 5 is 7. And the number with the larger absolute value is 12. It's positive, so your answer is positive. Okay. Back on number 17. I know I'm skipping around. Sorry, guys. 10 minus -4 is going to be 10 plus. That -4 becomes a positive 4. And your answer is 14. Okay. Look at number 21. It says write an addition or subtraction equation that's represented by each model. You guys remember that you always start at 0, okay? And so we go from 0 to -4. From -4, we went all the way over to 1. So we have to count how many units that is. And that is going in the positive direction. And so that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Your signs are opposite. You take the difference. So 5 minus 4 is 1. 5 is positive. Your answer is positive. Okay? Looking at number 23. Write a division equation that is represented by the model. So first you're going to look at how many items do you have? You have, and what kind are they? You have -9, right? And then they've divided it into how many groups? They divided it into 3 groups, and each group has -3. Okay. Number 24. Same thing. You've got, this one says, though, a multiplication. Okay. So multiplication, you've got what's inside each group. 1, 2, 3. -3. How many groups do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's going to be times 4. And our answer is going to be -12. Now, if you had done it the opposite way and said 4 times -3, that's fine as well, which gives you the -12. Okay. Now, this one about the snowfall. So Daniel recorded the amount of snow that fell and melted each day. How many inches of snow remained on the ground after day 4? So there was no snow on the ground before day 1. Okay. There are a couple of different ways that you could do this. I think the easiest one would be to take your all of your snowfall and add that together. Take all of your how many inches it's melted, add that together, and take the difference. Okay. So you could add all those. You know that the snowfall is positive, okay? And that the snow that's melting or snow that's melted would be a negative. So if you wanted to do it as an addition problem, you could write it out as 6 plus -1 plus 5 plus -3. You could continue like that. Or like I said before, you could add up all the snowfall, add up all of the inches it's melted, and get the difference and subtract. Your vocab should have been straightforward. Let's see if there's anything else. Okay, look at back on number 9. Number 9 says use the number line to determine the value of S plus T. So S is on -2. And T is on 4. And then you just find your answer. Okay? I can't think of anything else that might have given you a whole lot of trouble. I feel like if you use your notes in your journal that you should be prepared and you should do well. So have a very good day and be on your absolute best behavior. Bye, guys.